All right, thank you. So, like I said, again, my name is RJ Burns. I'm an enrollment advisor here within Ohio State Online's department. And again, I'm joined by Dr. Zillifro, who is the RN and BSN director in the College of Nursing. So, we're going to discuss a couple different things today, but just wanted to kind of kick off and introduce the two of us. So without further ado, we're going to pass it over to Dr. Zillifro.
Well, thanks, RJ, and good morning, everybody. And congratulations on making the decision to move forward and get your BSN. Your associate degrees established an incredible foundation that really allowed you to step into the best profession in the world. But getting your bachelor's degree will take that foundation and elevate it even another level, giving you the opportunity to increase the options you have for career paths and the different types of jobs that you can work by having your BSN, increase the amount of money that you're making, and open up doors and opportunities for you to go ahead and to continue your education if that's something that you dream of. Here at Ohio State, though, we are a team that really dreams big and in color. As you can see from our vision and our mission statements, excellence is at the cornerstone of what we do and how we do it. We believe that your education is really an investment, and you're investing your money, your energy, your emotions, your time. And so our mission is that we exist to empower and to inspire our communities to answer their calling to care in ways that benefit all people. And our vision is we strive to be a leading voice and advocate in education, scientific discovery, and practice to change the future of healthcare for the better. At the cornerstone of our philosophy and our program outcomes, in fact, is our philosophy of live well. RJ, you want to go ahead and move to the next? Thanks. So live well is a mnemonic that we adopted that really reflects the values that we share. We not only care about your academic success here at Ohio State, but we care about your professional growth, your personal growth, and your wellness along the way. So, Live Well stands for being a leader and innovating with vision while we execute, while being wellness focused, evidence based, lifelong learners, and lights to the world. As you can see within that, we really do care for all aspects of you and who you are along the way, and really try and foster that excellence. And while again, allowing you to use and tap into the many resources that you have when you become a Buckeye nurse. Go ahead and move on to the next slide, RJ.
Yeah, of course.
If I
So
go pick us over.
to kind of go over today's agenda, we're going to basically give an overview on the application timeline and application requirements, some about the program structure and some courses to expect, as well as some application tips that we have for students that are, applying to this program. We'll also have some time at the end for questions and answers. Excuse me. We do ask that if you do have any questions, feel free to hold on to them. They might be answered throughout the presentation, but if not, we definitely want to get those answered for you today before you leave. So to hop right into the RN to BSN program, and for some, the path to BSN option through our RN to BSN program, the admissions requirements, first we want to start off with students needing a degree from an ACEN or CNEA program. To help out with that, I'm also going to put in the chat the links to ACEN as well as CNEA, as that's an important piece too. Essentially the requirements for our RN BSN program. And so with that, I'll put in the CNEA as well. And so that's on the left-hand side. You can see that regionally accredited programs do have those transfer credits that come over relatively easy to our university. And so that is another thing that we usually see students submit, noting that if it is a nationally accredited institution, there's a lot more in terms of petitioning courses and things along those lines. But in regards to the nursing accreditation, you can see the ACE and CNEA requirements are up there on the screen. Now, for students that are interested in our Path to BSN option, this will go into kind of detail of what that looks like specifically for students at these institutions. But essentially, it does allow students to start our RN to BSN classes a semester or two early before they graduate with their associate's degree in nursing. So we have that partnership with Columbus State Community College, Edison State Community College, Rhodes State College, COTC, which is Central Ohio Technical College, Clark State Community College, Marion Tech College, and last but not least, North Central State College. Now, in regards to the admissions side of things, we kind of separated them so you'd be able to delineate between the two options here, within the RN to BSN program. So, of course, the RN to BSN admission requirements would be an associate's degree in nursing from an ACEN or CNEA accredited institution, as we said in the previous slide. But then also a cumulative GPA of a 2.0 or higher is needed. And then international students applying to the RN to BSN program have to hold an active unencumbered RN license in the United States or the Credentials Evaluation Service report from the Commission of Graduates of Foreign Nursing Schools. So there's a couple different options there. In regards to international students that are currently living in an authorized state within the United States. Now, as I said earlier, Path to BSN, we do have a partnership with certain schools here in the Ohio area. And so students have to essentially meet the RN to BSN requirements, but then there's an additional review for that. And so if you're enrolled in an associate's degree in nursing program at one of our 7 partner institutions, and you have a cumulative GPA of a 3.2 or higher on a 4.0 scale, that's currently kind of one of the baselines. But I will say that if you have a 2.75 to a 3.2, you'll still be evaluated on an individual basis. But there's just an additional review, of your application for students that are within that window. And then a 2.0 or higher is needed for students who are not concurrently enrolled. So again, kind of if you're at one of those institutions and you're planning on applying to start a program after you graduate with your associate's degree in nursing, then that 2.0 or higher is the minimum for that. And also just noting that at the bottom, they both require an active, unencumbered, or unrestricted RN license in the U.S. before enrolling in the Nursing Advanced 4240, which is the second semester for full-time students, or the third semester if you're going part-time in our program. And then applicants who are current or former Ohio State students must have an OSU GPA of a 2.0 or higher in order to be eligible for the program. We've had some students go through the Fresh Start pathway if they were below that. So there are options if you're not above that, but we'd be, of course, happy to connect you with people that would be able to kind of further explain that for you. And then last but not least, as I alluded to earlier, that you would need to reside in an authorized state within the United States. So we do have a map online on online.osu.edu, that you'd be able to locate the map for the RN to BSN program, and then that's maintained by our state authorization team. Now, in regards to application materials, we do get this question a lot of what's required for students to complete the application. And so, of course, filling out the application online is a requirement. We have links to that, on our webpage. So, the application is housed through the Graduate Professional Admissions Office, which you can get there from our Graduate Professional Admissions website, but you can also get there through the College of Nursing's RN to BSN website, or our Ohio State Online website as well. So there's a couple different avenues that you can start this application. And again, in regards to what's needed on the application, you have your application fee, and that's $60, and that would be required in order for that application to process through. Um, and then within that application, you also have two required essay questions, not too long, typically around 300 or fewer words. And then you have an additional optional essay. So if there's anything that you want the review committee to know, outside of maybe the things that are covered in your, um, career goals and things like that in the first two, then you can add that in as well. And thank you, Dr. Zilla, for putting the um, state authorization link out there for you. And then last but not least, definitely not least, and this is something that I would really encourage students to focus in on because sometimes it can delay the application if not submitted correctly. But we would need all college or university transcripts. And when I say all, I mean whether you've taken one class or you've taken a full degree. Um, that's all of those individual all those individual transcripts must be submitted. And another question that I get is, well, it's the transfer credits on my newest transcript, since for my most recent institution, will that count? And unfortunately, that won't. We will need the individual transcript from that previous institution, as well as the one that maybe you most recently attended that has a transfer credit on it. So just keeping that in mind, as sometimes we do have students submit those transcripts, and then our admissions office does see that there's transfer credit on that current transcript, and then goes and puts out a new item on your application for an additional transcript. And I will say too, there are some options for students to submit transcripts that are official technically, but have been sent to maybe you as the student. So as long as it's an official document sent from the university registrar's office or college registrar's office to you, even if you open it, it's technically considered unofficial, but it's an official document that can be used for review purposes for admission here at Ohio State. However, keep in mind that if you do fall into that category and you utilize that pathway, you do need to um, submit an official transcript to the university directly from your previous institution to Ohio State if admitted. So kind of done on the back end. Excuse me. So yeah, that's kind of an overview, I'd say, of the transcripts. But if you do have any additional questions about the transcripts, and maybe where to send them, feel free to reach out to us or our colleagues within the Graduate and Professional Admissions Office. Their contact information is here. They ultimately manage the intake of transcripts, so students aren't, sending them to Ohio State Online enrollment advisors, or they're not sending them to the College of Nursing. They're sending all transcripts at the university to our graduate professional admissions for programs that fall within that. So, and when we're looking at that admissions timeline to kind of give you a snapshot of what to expect, the current application that's open is for the summer 2025 term. That application deadline is March 31st. So you do have about a month and a half to complete the application if you're wanting to start the summer term. If you're here today and you're looking for a future term, that application opens up April 1st for autumn 2025 term and closes on June 30th. And then similarly, after that application closes, then the spring one will open and close on October 30th. So you can always refer to our website as well for most up-to-date information in regards to that, but that's kind of the trajectory, if you will, for each application deadline. And transcripts are needed to be submitted to our admissions office. So make sure that those are completed and sent in to to the graduate professional admissions office by the application deadline. It says the 2 weeks after the application deadline. Just note that there is time for internal processing, but that's kind of where that factors in. We do have to have the transcript sent by you and the university by the application deadline. But note that if it's not showing up on your applicant center by the application deadline, that there is internal application processing timelines that students wouldn't be penalized for. So regardless, we advise students to get the application in as soon as possible, mostly because we do have rolling admissions. So you are able to have a decision posted relatively soon after we have the completed application done. So that's usually within 2 weeks, maybe 2 to 4 weeks, depending on when your application is essentially complete with transcripts and such. So, and then students do have 2 weeks to accept the offer post decision. And in regards to preparing for the program, there's multiple requirements. Our office with our student support specialist, maybe your advisor, would be reaching out to you in regards to background checks, RN license, reviewing your virtual admissions packet, which kind of goes through next steps pretty extensively. And then orientation for the program. So it's an online orientation via Carmen, and you also have an appointment with your advisor to go over previous credit and things along those lines. If you want to know when the classes begin specifically, excuse me, on which date, then you would be able to find that on our university registrar's office. But generally speaking, autumn classes begin in late August. Spring classes begin in early January, and summer classes begin in early May. So, and as you can see there at the bottom, half the BSN students, if you fall into that category, you're currently enrolled in a associate's degree in nursing program at one of our 7 partner institutions. You could start our RN to BSN program 1 to 2 semesters prior to graduating. So you'd want to factor that into your application window. Now, in regards to a life in the program, as I said before, you'll have an academic advisor within the College of Nursing that will be able to kind of go over enrollment and all the things needed for transfer credit, as transfer credit is reviewed once you're admitted and you accept the offer for the RN to BSN program. We'll pull in a transfer credit report from all previous classes that you've completed, and then just do a gap analysis for you to build a customized pathway for your degree. So, if you're looking at your previous credit, your general education courses and things like that, your advisor would be able to best assist with the review of that, an official review of that once admitted and accepted the offer to our program. You'll also have a student support specialist, which works with our team. Kind of at that point, once you're admitted and you have your paid acceptance fee, then our colleagues within the student support specialist team would be able to really help kind of fill in the gaps for the next steps for you. So you'll have 2 people that will really be there for ultimately for your support throughout the program, and to ensure that you're spending all your time, learning about the additional classes that you need for your BSN, and not needing to necessarily spend all that time, with like university procedures and things like that. As they'll be there to help assist with any questions that you have. And so, we recognize that it's a fully online program, and we want to provide you with the support that you need in many different angles, and know that you have those resources here at Ohio State. And it's another thing that I believe that really sets us apart from other programs. So, and I'm actually going to pass the next couple of points on to Dr. Zillifro.
Thanks, RJ. And I just want to go back and touch or highlight again something you just said, because one of the things that differentiates us from others is the amount of support that you have, in spite of the fact that it is an online program. Our Ohio State Online or OSO student support specialists do an incredible job of helping you to navigate things, answer questions, and be there, really give that personal touch, along with our student academic advisors. And we have an incredible team of faculty, almost all of whom are doctorally prepared, but yet many of them walk the same journey that you guys did, starting out as LPNs or associate degree prepared nurses and continuing. So we really you will be surrounded and raised up by a team of us who really are here to help do everything we can to make sure that we're setting you up for success. So let's talk about what the time commitments are. That's up to you, whether you choose to go full-time or part-time and how you choose to pace that out. But really working with your student support specialists and your academic advisors can help you lay that foundation and figure out what the best journey or the trajectory is for you. When you think about the full-time for us, excuse me, is up to 18 credits. And as you think about that, and the time commitment, know that the university's expectation is that for every 1 credit hour, that you're investing about 3 hours of work per week, up to that includes both looking at doing the readings and the learning materials within the course, as well as doing your learning activities to help support your skill growth and your development. So think about that and what you have going on in your life, because at this point, many of you are juggling work, family, and school. So think about that and how you can, what your goals are and how you can best meet those without like killing yourself, right? So, but think about that 1 hour for every 1 credit hour, then it means approximately up to 3 hours of work. So a 3 credit hour course would mean up to 9 hours of work per week. So working during school, the vast majority of our students are working full time and while going back for their BSN and juggling families as well. And again, it takes the average student doing part-time about 15-ish, 18-ish months to get it done, depending on how fast you want to do it. But you have the opportunity to tighten that window up or spread it out, whatever works for you. But talk with your family, talk with your support systems, talk with with your supervisors at work, and really figure out what is the best for you. Again, this is an online program, and so all of our courses are offered asynchronously online. We've got core courses that are required. We'll take a look at some of those in just a second. But just because it's a fully online program does not mean that you won't have a ton of connection and you'll have access to your faculty, you'll be doing work with your peers and getting to know one another through the different kinds of learning activities that we provide, as well as support from our academic advisors and our student support specialists. So, but making sure though that you understand doing online coursework means you got to have a computer that's working. You need to have a good internet connection so that you can access the online materials and such. The good news is though too is being at Ohio State, we've got a ton of resources. So, if you, to help support you not just academically, but with technology and things like that. So one more reason to really take a look at Ohio State. Last, clinical work is a new topic that's really come up because back in April of this past year, in April of 2024, the CCNE, which is one of our accrediting bodies, so just like all your hospitals and the places you work have to be accredited, we're accredited too to help assure you that you're getting an incredible education. And a CCNE, well, the American Association for Colleges of Nursing, which oversees all of accreditation, both ASIN and CCNE, changed their definition of what direct care means and what clinical looks like in RN to BSN programs. So although historically there have not been any clinical experiences per se, and with the new definition that AACN has brought forth and that we're all having to stand up to, there won't be clinical work in the same way that you had clinical work in your associate degree program, where you're assigned a unit and you've got a preceptor and you've got faculty overseeing that. It won't be clinical work in that way. But at Ohio State, as we're interpreting that, as every program around the country is having to do to keep our accreditations, you will be having the opportunity to do what they're defining as a direct care experience. And what that will look, we have different options as to what that can look like. There will, as we are launching our direct care experiences this summer, again, it will be housed within the community course, but exploring opportunities to be innovative and to really give you options that expand your horizons, that help build your network, and that really help you be able to pick something that aligns with all of the competing priorities that you have in your life. So know that there will be something that will, as a semblance, I guess, if you will, of clinical work, but it will not be the traditional clinical work. It will not be for a full, like you're going somewhere every, once a week for the entire course. It won't be anything like that. So we're going through approval processes right now internally within our committees and bringing forth a proposal of something that we think is going to be really, really rich and innovative, and give you something to be really excited about. But know that everybody across the country is having to do that. It's not an Ohio State thing. And that know that we are working real hard to put together something that we think you're going to absolutely love. So go ahead and go on, RJ. All right, so you're wondering what kind of courses are you going to be taking? So, or I'm sorry, what kind of assessments? How do we judge how well you're coming along in your development? So, just like everybody else, we have traditional assessments, things like discussion boards. Occasionally, there will be a paper that you need to write. Some of them are reflective papers, like looking back on your experiences or looking back on an activity that you've just done and reflecting what that was like to go through that. Other times it might be something a little more formal where you're investigating the latest data on something and you have to put together a short paper about it. But this is not a paper intensive program where you're writing all the time. We also have quizzes like everybody else does. We also do a lot of things like group presentations using technology to do that and innovative approaches to figuring out how is your development coming along and give you a chance to kind of take all the information you've learned and put it together by doing things like creating podcasts, doing case scenarios, doing video simulations and escape rooms, designing infographics and things like that, and doing group assignments. Also doing things like windshield surveys or walking surveys. So it's not gonna be the standard education as you know it. You're gonna have all kinds of opportunities to really grow your skills, to demonstrate your development, and to really have a chance to build a package of skills that is going to set you apart from the rest. All right, next slide, please, RJ. So what kind of classes are you going to be taking? As you can see from the sample courses, you're going to be doing some of the same courses that everybody else out there is offering, right? But some of so things like leadership, community, we have a foundations course that you're going to take. But some of the other courses that you're going to take here at Ohio State that are different from the rest out there are things like cultural competency in healthcare, looking not just at the US, but globally. Here at Ohio State, we have an incredible global strategic planning office where we have the opportunity to work with students, other students sitting in the same kind of space from around the world. And so in the cultural competency course, you kind of explore that. And we're exploring opportunities to give you the option to connect virtually with other students and expand your horizons. We have healthcare informatics, interprofessional concepts, because as you guys all know, as nurses, like nursing is not a siloed thing. We work in collaboration with everybody. Evidence-based practice. We also have some incredibly cool electives for you to choose from because you are required to do some nursing electives. We've got an amazing failure to rescue course that really helps you build your assessment skills, along with an assessment course that is health assessment across the lifespan. For those of you that are interested in primary care or school nursing, we also have electives in those two fields, and we have certificates that you can earn along the way in conjunction with your bachelor's degree. So you can leave Ohio State not just with your bachelor's, but with certificates of advanced knowledge and certificate qualifications in both primary care and school nursing. Now, what does that look like? Total credit hours that you're going to between courses that you transfer in and courses you do at Ohio State, you have to earn a total of 120 total credit hours to get a bachelor's degree. 30 of those credit hours have to be completed here at OSU. So again, we open the door for you to transfer credits in so that you can work smarter, not harder, and maximize the work that you've already done. We do have a list of general education courses that are required to help build a broad background. And as we talked about, some amazing nursing elective courses as well. One of our electives that's moving to a required course, again, based on accreditation standards, is palliative care. And so you guys will all be taking a palliative care course eventually here too. So a lot of opportunity. Go ahead and go to the next one, RJ. So going to send it back to you, RJ, to wrap it up here.
Perfect. Thank you. So you may be wondering about some different things that we talked about in regards to state authorization, application info, but we also have tuition and fees info on our website. I'm going to post that in the chat here. And so, excuse me. So that's a great resource to get an estimate of the total tuition and whether that's by semester or for the program. We do have that resource out there for you. So it's also on the screen here, online.osu.edu/program/RNBSN. Not only is it going to have that, but it'll have a lot of other things in regards to curriculum, as you can see, application, and state authorization is also in there. Some post-grad opportunities what students are getting involved in. So utilizing both of those links would be able to kind of further enhance your knowledge of our institution. So now in regards to the financial aid side of things, so we do have students that may have employer benefits inside and outside of Ohio State. And so a lot of different employers or hospital systems do have some kind of tuition reimbursement or tuition assistance program. So I would always encourage students to contact your HR representative at your place of employment if you are working, as that's a great place to start. But another great place to start would be our financial aid website. So SFA, studentfinancialaid.osu.edu. And that's where you can find information on the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, as well as Scholarship Universe. And Scholarship Universe is available for students at Ohio State, but also outside of Ohio State. There's some specific local OSU scholarships on there that you can apply for. But then there's some that are external to Ohio State that you can utilize on your statement of account here at Ohio State. So just note that when you go to sfa.osu.edu, since the RN to BSN is a professional degree, you would want to go to the graduate and professional tab there, as you can see on the screen. Now, I know that covers, a lot of information in regards to our RN to BSN program and Ohio State overall. If you do have any questions after that, we'll have some time for Q&A here in the next minute. So if you have questions or be thinking about questions, we'll have time for that. But I do want to plug here that if anything comes up again, like I said, after today, then you do have a full support team here to be able to assist, throughout your whole time in the application and admissions process. But then again, like I said, as your time as an OSU student, and then resources afterwards as well. So we kind of follow students the whole way through and offer those offer that support system. But the first step would be online enrollment at osu.edu if you want to get in contact with us and haven't been in contact with an enrollment advisor already. If you have been in contact with an enrollment advisor, feel free to reach out to them directly. And then our general line for the college of nursing programs like this one that's online would be 614-292-7985. And that's for the RN to BSN program specifically. If you do have any questions, you can also follow us on social media. So we have a couple links out there for you. And then, as I said, there's some links in the chat, but also you can scan that QR code if you want to, learn more about our program from our online website. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I do thank you all for attending today and for your time. And please feel free to stick around for the question and answers, as we'd be happy to get those questions answered for you. But I am also going to stop the recording so we can start the Q&A session.
Thanks, RJ.